Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Anime Sundays, the show where we talk about anime on Sundays. Of course, we have Shonen Showdown here.
Thank you for having me.
And, recently we've been seeing some of our favorite anime kind of come to an end. Of course, I'm talking about Attack on Titan. We've got a lot of controversy with the endings and the takes. So it just made me think, what are some of the greatest final arcs in shonen anime? All right, Rob. There's a lot of anime that have ended. We're really just talking about the anime. We know some manga have ended as well, but we kind of want to stick to the final arcs of some of the great anime out there. So at number 3, what would you say is probably your third favorite or, the best final arc in a shonen?
Okay, so definitely some tough decisions. But at my third spot, currently, I have Death Note. I have the ending of Death Note. I think that the way we got to see Light get his comeuppance, that was the biggest thing for me, because we were seeing Light playing Kira, right? He revered himself as a god, technically. Light is pretty much seeing his world crashing down right before his eyes. And you're literally watching Nier look at him deal with that. That was the greatest thing for me. I think it was just a beautiful ending to a crazy anime all around. From the moment we start, Death Note is crazy. So I like that one.
I mean, that's a good one. I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking about having Death Note as well. That ending season, that ending arc with Nier, all the stops he had to pull out, all the characters he had to finesse. Definitely some great storytelling, great writing, and just even great, telling of the abilities, right? They really started to get into the depth of how the Death Note worked, the Shinigami God, it's all that good stuff. For me, I'm going to go with a very unpopular one, and I know a lot of you are not going to like this, but I'm going to go with Naruto, bro. I'm going to go with Naruto Shippuden. I think the war arc is one of the greater arcs in a shonen. Now, I know already, off rip, all of you are going to say, oh, well, the Black Zetsu and da-da-da-da.
And Kaguya.
Yeah. But I think aside from the Black Zetsu plot point, I think overall it would have been like a really darn near perfect arc. The way they even introduced Sasuke back into the story, Madara, the 5 Kage. I mean, even if you start from the 5 Kage summit, I mean, that's a little far back because, that is when he declared war. But it's just a lot of great plot points that I think was really wrapping up Naruto as a whole. I felt like this is what we were all really trying to get to in terms of this great finisher. But they did drop the ball on it, and that's why I kind of have it at number 3. But I think overall, it was a great arc. We lost some cats. You thought Naruto and Sasuke were done for a minute. The Kage were getting packed. Everyone's getting packed. And I felt like Madara even getting that close to his goal, I felt like it kind of gave you everything that you needed, except for that ending plot point.
It was a solid arc. I just feel like, I guess, when I'm thinking of war arcs, I have other war arcs above it.
I mean, me too. Again, I do have other war arcs above the Naruto arc. But I feel like, since some of these anime with the war arcs aren't over, I felt like, if I'm going to think about an anime that kind of did have a great ending arc, I think Shippuden did it well. I think it did it well.
Okay.
All right, moving on. What would you probably have at that number 2 spot, Rob?
At my number 2 spot, I'm going to go with Gurren Lagann. The end, I think it was just beautiful. You're watching Simon fight against the anti-spiral, and they're punching each other. You're seeing this huge galactic level battle. It's crazy. Anti-spiral was actually throwing universes, not even this galaxy. So that's how crazy the battle got, all the way to it becoming a fist fight. And it was just so well written to see how much Simon has grown from being that little boy that Kamina really had to nurture and help him build up his confidence, to now being, the main fighter against the main villain. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
It's always hitting home with, Kamina and Simone and everybody. Like you said, epic battles. For me, number 2, and I know this may also seem basic, I think I have Attack on Titan. I think I have the War of Paradise arc as a whole arc. Now, again, I'm saying these arcs because I think as a whole, they really did their job to encompass the final message of the anime. the war in Paradise, just from Eren immediately going to Marley, setting it off, them coming back, Gabby, everybody. I felt like in terms of plot points, we had some real heart tugs and heartstrings being pulled all throughout Attack on Titan. But now that all the information had been unveiled and we see all the craziness going on, Eren going back in time, learning all the abilities that he can really do with the Founding Titan, I feel like as an overall arc, it's one of the greatest. Now, again, I'm going to give it the same kind of point that I gave it to Naruto Shippuden. I don't necessarily agree with or like how things ended with Eren dying and him killing 80% of the planet. I felt like that is where they dropped the ball. We were supposed to get this kind of bigger humanitarian message for why Eren was doing what he was doing, but ultimately he kind of just put it up to destiny. He was kind of just like, well, this is how it was, this is how it's been, and this is why I had to do it, and this is why I had to go through.
You realize why he was doing that though, right? Because once he had that Founding Titan power coupled with the Attack Titan, I mean, he literally was seeing the past, present, and future.
And I get that, but I felt like at the end of the day, they kind of brushed it off as his main reason was so that his friends would be good. And I'm kind of like, come on now, you just gave him an Itachi storyline. Yeah. You just said his family's good, so that's why everything's good. And at the end of the day, the world went back to war anyway. So it was kind of like...
Which he did say.
Which he did say, but I felt like there should have been, with all this turmoil, trauma, back and forth, all this convincing, I felt like there should have been some solace and some kind of completion of what Eren was trying to do. And I felt like he really didn't complete his goal. I feel like he really did not make the world a better place by destroying the planet. And that was kind of my main thing, especially with all you Eren fans talking about, oh, Eren was never right. Eren was wrong. He did not need to murder all those people. Y'all are glorifying this man just attacking back because y'all was with him in season 1. And I felt like if I'm Eren, I would want some full circle gratitude or some full circle completion for me going through all this, for me making sure my own mother died, for me making sure all the homies died, and for destroying this much of the planet.
Here's where we may split ways on this. I don't think Eren was wrong. I know what he did was immoral. I get that. But I feel like the rest of the world never really gave the Eldians an option. It was either kill or be killed. But the morals came in, and that's why, Levi and the rest of the Survey Corps said, no, we still have to stop Eren because this is not right. And then they still ended up getting destroyed later on. The Paradise Island still ended up getting destroyed. So that's why I feel like Eren was in a position where it's either you destroy everything or let the cycle repeat, because he was able to see the future. So he was trying to change a future that nobody else in the world could see but him. And that's kind of why it was tough.
But that's also kind of like why I feel like Eren was just not moving correct at all, because what needs to happen. So one, there should be a lot more things in play to make sure you complete your goal if you really think destroying the world is going to make it a better place. Two, you had ambient control of how you use the rumbling. It didn't have to be total annihilation. You didn't have to wake up every Titan. You didn't have to stomp everybody's house out. You could have just crippled the planet. You could have really just took over. Me personally, when it comes to like the ethical solution of will war ever go away? No, war will never really go away as long as humans exist, because humans will always disagree on what's morally and immoral. They're always going to have greed. They're always going to have temptations. There's always going to be a thing that makes them go back to war. But I feel like if you can solidify the people as much as possible, that there is no Eldian, there is no Marleyan, there's no north or south, east or west, that's the closest you're going to get into stopping war. Bungo Stray Dawn season 5 main thing was, if this man can unite the world's army under one army, then there's no war. And that's what he was trying to do, take over the planet to unite all the soldiers on one army. And I kind of feel like that's the kind of the route you have to go besides massacre. If you're going to cause a travesty to the world, you might as well do it under some type of dictatorship or oppression than massacre. Because I feel like if you, as a leader, know how to lead and conduct, you can make it work in a sense. Of course, it's not going to be perfect. Of course, people are going to be like, oh, Eren's the dictator. Let's rise up. Let's do it. But at least now it's mankind versus you instead of mankind versus each other. If you have all this knowledge and power, there's ways you could have actually thought about not destroying millions of people. That's just me. But yeah, Rob, so what would you think is the greatest final arc in a shonen?
Only the person that did it better than Eren. Lelouch.
I feel like you were going there, yeah.
The Zero Requiem arc in Code Geass to me is the greatest ending that I can think of currently in anime. But I think that Lelouch is literally doing what Eren would try to do, and he did it at a much better level, right? Lelouch literally was putting the world's hate all on himself and then sacrificed himself for the benefit of the world. That is the greatest ending that you could really see, and you could tell it was troubling Lelouch as well, but he played the character so well, as you just spoke about in Bungo Stray Dogs, right? They're trying to unify the world, right? So it's the same thing. Lelouch was trying to get the world to come together and find one common evil, and that was himself. He was acting that part. He played that part to help bring the world. So I definitely gotta put Lelouch,
Well, obviously Eren is not as smart as Lelouch, but I just felt like if you have all knowledge, you can get to that somewhat level to do something similar. I think he was really more emotional than anything, and I feel like people don't talk about that a lot because they think, oh no, Eren, he's the founding titan now, he's too locked in. But it's like, at the end of the day, what did he say? I'm doing this for my homies. Like, that's really what he came down to. So for myself, one of my favorite ending arcs is the Promised Day arc for Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. If you've seen Fullmetal Alchemist or Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, you know they just do a great job of telling the story consistently as possible all the way through, and just wrapping it up with Father getting to the truth, getting Al's body back, Father using his son and some of the homunculi as sacrificial pieces, and just everything, just his 400-year plan as an anime that you only thought was about scientists and the army and, you know, your normal vendettas that come with government and wars. I felt like introducing Father and his main plan and getting to the truth and all that good stuff was just like really a chef's kiss to wrap up the complexity of the anime, because we know Full Metal is known for really having those great complex battles mixed in with real like strong emotion and real world problems. They didn't try to make Father seem too godly. They didn't try to make him seem like, oh, we're never gonna beat this man without the power of friendship. Like, they really tried to break it down in a way to where when they defeated bro, it all made sense. Overall, Brotherhood ending, definitely one of the top shonen endings, just written wise to me. But yeah, y'all, if you disagree with our ending arcs, we know there's many anime out there that have ended old and new. Of course, some of the nostalgic ones. We all know when One Piece gets there, that's going to be the best one. We still going strong. So y'all let us know some arcs we might have missed. And with that, we'll see y'all next Sunday.